Ladies and gentlemen, how are you today? I woke up in a bad mood due to stressing out over not being able to afford to get out of Houston if we get hit by a hurricane in 5 days, which the icon is saying Texas might get hit. South Texas. But that is only one model right now. And right now we are concentrating on Hurricane Florence. Although that model shows it hitting the same time as Hurricane Florence. And we will just have to monitor that situation. But right now we're looking at the latest GFS model run. And though no run is absolutely locked in, expect for some surprises, especially overnight tonight and tomorrow. It looks like we are looking at in North Carolina landfall, and then what it does after that is most interesting. Now, the thing is, we have the storm that is hitting right now, which is a major storm, which is probably causing mass major flood problems as it's filling up the rivers and lakes up north. And remember, this area is already extremely saturated. Today, we also had a volcano eruption in Mexico, the Popocatépetl volcano. We just had a 7.0 earthquake, which I did a video on. So it is kicking and tripping all over. And then we had this giant coronal hole. Why aren't you working? Why won't you work for me? Right there. And so when that usually passes and we get the solar wind, we get an uptick in earthquake activity. So things are wild all over. And we have Helene and Isaac to also watch. Isaac is supposed to be going into the Gulf as it intensifies. They think Isaac is going that way. And then that, if it develops, is going that way. They think Helene is going to go straight up. But they said that about Florence, and I didn't believe it then, and I don't believe it now. So, as I've been planning and preparing you guys for 10 months, saying we're going to wake up and there are going to be 4 hurricanes in the ocean, even though every single government and professional agency downgraded this hurricane season 3 times, I continue to say every time they downgrade it, I'm upgrading mine because I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. Just like I don't trust models. I think it's going to hit and curve up. That is just a gut feeling. I have no scientific data to back it off of. But we know now that if you are in North Carolina, anywhere near the strike zone, this is an extremely dangerous situation. This would be a major hurricane making major landfall. Now, the man I always recommend the most is crankywxguy. Here's his account on Twitter. I will leave his Storm Hamster blog in the link. He breaks everything down and is extremely smart, and most of the times is extremely accurate. None of us get it right 100% of the time. Okay, this is from John Homenook. The synoptic composite designed by Berg Weather really shines here, and to help visualize the components at play with Florence. We can watch the storm approach, the anomalous mid-level ridge form to the northeast, and the system slow to a crawl without any real impetus to movement. So that is just a lot of moisture. So the green is precipitation, I believe, and so it's a lot of wetness over areas that are already really wet. The ground is soaked and saturated and has no place to go but up and over. And so this is definitely the craziest month we have ever seen as far as weather. And it has only begun. crankywxguy, while we wait, good time to illustrate the key point made for many days. Forward motion of cyclone, primary clue to puzzle. Slower cyclone turns a bit earlier because weakness arrives sooner. Does the 0Z Euro slow the cyclone? Then it'll match. So just an internal component to look at. Some models have been having this storm affect the East Coast for about 4 or 5 days, which would be reminiscent of Hurricane Harvey. Now, see, this is the track I think is going to happen. I think it's going to scoop up, come around, and then actually go back out and solidify and then take off. Most models have it going to here and then doing some weird stuff. So this is going to be one storm we're going to have to watch. You have until Thursday a.m. to prepare for landfall all along the East Coast. I mean, like I said, be prepared for, we think it's going to make landfall in North Carolina, but we don't know for sure yet. These models haven't been too accurate the last few months. It's just like anything in government. The older it gets, the more expensive and the worse it performs. Pure intensification from here on out with Hurricane Florence. Minimal shear, no dry air, and warm ocean temperatures will help Florence achieve major hurricane status. If I had to take a guess, I would guess it would be Cat 5 or Cat 4 when it makes landfall. Cranky weather guy again. Meanwhile, Florence's always good structure is starting to show as convection builds. This image is the most enhanced bright you can find, so the convection is still rather shallow. Only a matter of time, just a question of rate is all. And like I said in the other video, I'd pointed out how the icon has Texas getting hit with a hurricane on the same day that North Carolina would. Which, God, let's hope that doesn't happen. Right now is a good time to say your prayers. Although, I mean, it says the 16th. And that would affect mainly like San Antonio, surrounding areas. But like that track is just as unofficial as this one. We all have to wait and see. Like, it is a moment of what is going to happen. What is going to happen? Nobody knows. But the nav gem has it making landfall in that one spot most people are talking about. And then going forward, the CMC has it hitting and then just sitting and rotating, which would be extremely disastrous. Like, let's look at their precipitation moisture. Yeah, so that puts the main rain cone over North Carolina into Virginia. The Euro has it hitting about the same spot and then kind of halting as it makes it to the back end of Virginia. This is definitely the weirdest, most dangerous weather situation we've ever been in. Like I said, we just had the 7-0 with no tsunami expected. William Churchill. Past couple of hours, 1 minute infrared image from GOES 16. Watch closely overnight for rapid intensification. We've had glimpses of an eye as deep convection wraps around the center. Could be quite the view come sunrise. Oh yeah, I tried to do a take earlier when I woke up angry. Either way, unless over the next 72 hours a trend to slow a little and thus pull a little right, it could occurs. It's not going to be a pretty day. And then we start to run out of prep time, whether or not it comes like this or not. So it is a good time to prepare and take the possibility of evacuation, because you get 2 feet of rain, anywhere from 10 to 20 feet of storm surge, 150 mile per hour winds. It will be disastrous, cataclysmic. Allen weather, Florence landfall location, heavily inspired by Eric Fisher. That shows the cone of impact. But that is, like I said, that is just a guess. We're all guessing. And this is doom, bitches. Doom. Like, this is dangerous. I highly recommend, if you are in the worst area, having serious thoughts about evacuating. Greater clarity that Florence poses a significant triple threat set of impacts to the U.S. Extremely high winds, major coastal storm surge, widespread inland flooding. Don't fall prey to sensationalists. You have time to prepare. Be smart, be calm, be ready. But I would say if you're going to evacuate, Monday night would probably be the best time, because the media dropped the ball on this thing. As far as I know, they weren't talking about it as deadly as it can be. And so if they're going to ramp up the, oh my God, this is going to be so dangerous, I don't think they'll do it till Tuesday. Monday night at the latest. And so when they start to freak people out, then everybody will bail for the roads. And so that is why I recommend, if you are going to evacuate, the safest and best time would probably be Monday night to get ahead of the traffic. As someone who has been caught in hurricane traffic before, if you try to get out, when everybody tries to get out, it bottlenecks and then you get stuck. So this is a precarious situation we're dealing with. So far, the 0Z scorecard still means nothing. It is 3.5 days out precision-wise, but we are indeed looking for stability and then for trends. Just monitoring without prejudice here. Think I have it in me to watch the full cycle. Thank you, Charlize, if you did have coffee with Cranky. I really, it's best to treat us well if you can, because we're doing what we can to save people and prepare you for the situation. Suck it! All right. I don't know why I said that. I'm sure, wait, yeah, I do. But that is not related to the storm. Yeah, big challenge ahead for this track and forecast, because if you'll notice, the models we look at, it's always got it stuck on 24. Like it's not, like it can't go higher than 24. And that is not true. I do not believe that at all. So like here, it never breaks over 24. And this is a super disastrous situation again, but I think, as he points out, the truth is it can be anywhere from 20 inches to 50 inches. Why your GIF not working? See, one model shows 50 potential inches of rain and the other shows 16. And so there are a lot of variables here. And so if you get 50 inches of rain, which happened in Florence, I'm sorry, it happened in Harvey and Lane, and then Hawaii just got a 50 inches of rain in one day on a separate day, that this is a possible situation that has happened multiple times in the last year. So if you got 50 inches of rain plus 10 feet of storm surge and a giant ball of water pushing inland, this can be an extremely major disaster. So if you are in anywhere near the danger zones, and like I said, I think it's going to curve up and affect a larger portion of the East Coast, you need to take this very seriously. So you can either take my advice or not. And THORNEWS is a publicly funded YouTube channel. If you want to continue to support me and all the work I do and all the awesomeness, I leave a link at the bottom. You can contribute. And I will stay on top of this because I'm a superhero in real life. Love you guys. God bless everyone. Stay cool. And please take this very seriously.